This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSPORT Fan Network.
TalkSPORT. Powered by fans.
Styles with a save. Trent for the second here. A classic counter-attack, and Gibbs White puts Nottingham Forest 2 ahead. Here's Wood. 1-0 Forest. Has made an even bigger difference there. Nottingham Forest have snatched the lead at Anfield.
Hello, welcome to this edition of Red Side of the Trent, here to get a player report on Dilane Bakwa of Strasbourg. I'm joined by Davey, European football journalist, writer, broadcaster for TalkSPORT and the Blueprints. Lee, thank you for joining us. This is a very strange one because we did record one last season about Bradley Locko, and then he ended up doing his ACL and never came to Forest in the end. So it's nice to have you back.
That's right. Yeah, that's right, wasn't it? That was so unfortunate. We did all the groundwork together, didn't we? Got it all ready, and yeah, there was that unfortunate injury, bless him.
Yeah. How are you doing anyway?
Really good, thank you. Yeah, busy as you expect. The transfer window's coming to a close, and like for everybody who works in football, it's a pretty busy time with the start of the season, and then before we know it, we'll have European football back, which you guys will be involved in.
Yeah, absolutely. And Strasbourg, who kind of was in a bit of the mix at the end with the whole Lyon, Crystal Palace, ourselves, and obviously conceding a goal last minute and everything else. But yeah, we'll dive straight into it. So Forest have been linked with right winger Dilane Bakwa, French. Well, he's born in France, Congolese. Could play for Congolese as well if you wanted to. 22, left footer as well. What can you tell me about him? He scored quite a few goals last season, 6 goals, 8 assists last season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I think it might even be 9 assists,
Right.
but it was definitely 6 goals. Yeah, very exciting player. Definitely raw, and the best years ahead of him. Impressed last season. He came to Strasbourg. He's been there 2 seasons now. He started off at Bordeaux and broke through the youth system there, and off he went to Strasbourg, which they weren't exactly putting up any trees at the time, but it's been a really good place for him to develop. And more so last season under Leon Rossinho, everybody will know he's the manager there at Strasbourg, and he's worked wonders in his first season there as manager. And part of that is the way he's been able to really develop some of the young talent there, and one of them being Bakwa. He has been a real breath of fresh air. He's caught the eye on many occasions last season, and not just his ability to score goals, to assist, but he's very, he's one of those players that will get you off the edge, get you certainly on the edge of your seat. And knowing Premier League fans the way I do, he's one of those guys that you'll certainly pay a ticket to go and watch. He's incredibly entertaining.
What is it that he's maybe adding to his game that's maybe a little bit different from the modern winger? We don't see like the flair as much as you'd like to anymore. Do you like the Eden Hazards or Joe Coles, or I'm trying to just think off the top of my head who was a fun winger, but do you know what I mean? Like that seems to have kind of gone out of the game a little bit. I mean, he seems to be someone, when you watch his YouTube highlight reel anyway, he's someone that's quite direct and quite fun to watch. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would, and it's quite ironic that you brought up the fact that these wizards of wing play from a bygone era are dying. We're now in where we're playing a lot of system-based football. Perfect example is Jack Grealish has had all of the wizardry, basically beaten out of him. Well, this guy's got it, and I hope it doesn't get beaten out of him. And under a manager like Nuno Espirito Santo, hopefully that will be certainly for the foreseeable future. That's another conversation. He would be certainly the type of player that would come in and excite the fans. He's, as you quite rightly said, he's direct, he's pacey, but he's really skillful. He's got quick feet, a low center of gravity, and his confidence in terms of when he gets the ball. He's very he likes to go forward. He likes to move forward. He likes to occupy little pockets of space and exploit them. You'll have 1, 2 players with certain situations in games last season where it'll be double marked and literally find a way to weave in and out between the 2 players, and he's off. So he'll always find solutions when he is, double marked, or or when defenders try and pin him back in any way. He has, yeah, he's massively impressed me. He was probably one of Strasbourg's, I guess, most important players, because they got into the Conference League last season and nobody expected it. And it was the performances of him, Omega, another player who's been linked with the move to the Premier League, who were really, really kind of, I guess, important to their general development over the season. But I think for him, he's the one that for me he really stood out. He's the one that would really get you on the edge of the seat. He's the one that would, I guess, you would, you would pay to come and watch him play. You'd switch the TV on to watch this guy play. Is he perfect? Is he the finished article? Absolutely not. But he's raw. He's got talent, and under the right guidance, I think there's a real player in him.
Would you see this as quite a good move for him coming to a club like Forest, where we have brought in young players, played them, they've got the experience of playing in the Premier League, but now we're adding competition because obviously we signed Amari Hutchinson last week as well. So two left-footed right wingers there that could be in direct competition. Would that be healthy for him, do you think?
I think so. I think that certainly, as long as he has game time, we don't want to stump his development completely, but I think there's enough games across English football with a second cup competition that France doesn't have, and the extra games in the Premier League. There's certainly enough there to go around for him to get enough game time to continue his development at Nottingham Forest. I think that's a good move. I think it's a smart move. I think he'd be under, again, Nuno showed that what he can do with his, certainly with his crop of talent. He can improve players. There's a huge list of players that have just gone to new horizons under his stewardship. So I think this will be a really solid move, a really good move for him, and also a good move for Forest as well. I think it's important to say that, because here's a guy who's going to come in with no fear, with all of the confidence in the world. Is it a step up? Absolutely. Is he going to get the same amount of time on the ball and freedom and space? Probably not in the Premier League, but that doesn't mean that he can't adapt. And he's certainly got the credentials, what I've seen, to ensure that he can adapt. There will be a level of adaptation period needed. He is a young guy, and this will be ultimately his biggest career test to date. New surroundings, everything that comes with such a big move and prestigious move for him. But what's nice about it, I don't think there's a lot of teams that really know too much about him. He's only really, last season was his real breakthrough season. So he's still something of an unknown entity. So I think that certainly goes in Forest's favour, because they're going to unleash someone and everyone's just going to go, oh my goodness, who's this guy? And I hope that does happen. There's no guarantees in football, of course, that players can adapt to every situation. But I hope it does happen, and if it does, then Forest are getting an absolute gem.
Yeah. Under Liam Rossini, what was he like off the ball in terms of how are they shaping up defensively? Does he someone that is going to put in that work to help his fullback, or is he a bit more free roll from that right wing?
Yeah, I mean, Liam Rossini occupies a 3-4-2-1 system. So with those 3 centre backs, he has defensive duties. So in terms of getting up and down the pitch, that's something that he's used to. That work rate is there. That understanding to sacrifice himself for the team and to get into position. There is no kind of letting up. As much as he likes to get forward, get to the byline, whip balls in, assist, shoot on sight, he knows his defensive duties as well, and he's shown that certainly over. And again, the case in point is last season, where he was excellent, where he showed all of those skills and all of that ability. Hence the reason why we're having this conversation now, because he's got all of those skills in abundance. So in terms of what Nuno would ask for him, certainly from the defensive aspect, that's not something that I see being a problem.
Yeah, and as we record this, obviously this deal hasn't happened, but it seems to have been in the works for quite a while. The quoted fee is about 35 million euros, I think, and I think there's I'm not sure how much upfront it is and what's add-ons or what Strasbourg are essentially asking. It seems the goalposts keep changing, but does that represent good value for money? Would you say?
I think long term, yes. I think it's quite a feat for a player who's, I guess, had one real standout season in his career. This season, for example, he hasn't started a game, and I'm not sure whether that is down to, the speculation over his future, whether Strasbourg expect him to go. But he's just made substitute appearances in the Conference League playoffs and the two league games so far against Metz and Nantes. So he's had minimal. He's had minimal kind of impact so far this season, but off of the back of last season, yes, I can see why that fee's being, being mooted. It is obviously Blueco that we're dealing with here. Have got ties, obviously, with Chelsea. So, off the back of that, I don't think you're going to get these young starlets at any flash in the pan prices that you might get in another league and club. So I think there's an element of a bit of tax being thrown on there for Nottingham Forest. But if money's spent wisely and he performs, then he could. There's no doubt that he could double that fee. What his value anyway within the next year or two, and I hope he does. I'm really hopeful about this guy. I'm really hopeful about him.
Yeah, no, I'm excited from what I've seen in the glimpses. I'm excited to see what he can do, and that competition with Hutchinson and linking up with Gibbs White, McAtee, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Dan and Doy. So yeah, it should be quite fun if he's added to our ranks up front, and we need it. We need the stronger depth. But Lee, thank you very much for joining us. If people want to check out any of your content, I know you've got the blueprint on YouTube, and is that the main one? Is anything else?
That's the main one. Yeah, you can get me on X as well, at _Lee Davey, and that will link through to my YouTube channel. The link will be on there as well. So if anyone's struggling to find it, you should be able to find it through my X.
Brill. Thank you very much for joining us on this one. Hope you've all enjoyed. If you can drop us a like and a subscribe, that would go a long way. And
Absolutely.
we'll see you in the next one. Come on, you Reds.